Hello, my name is Ian and I just want to talk to you in this video about oven cleaning, how I became an oven cleaner and whether oven cleaning is suitable for you. Now to do that I have to go all the way back to when I used to be a graphic designer. I studied graphic design for 4 years. I worked in agencies in London, I worked in print houses, I've worked for marketing companies, communications companies, so I've had a reasonably good career as a graphic designer that spanned over 20 years. Now, I was going from job to job to job, gaining experience, and I always said, my CV always looked like I didn't stay around for very long. So I always said in the interviews that, it's not that I don't stay around for very long; it's because I wanted to gain experience. But realistically, on hindsight, I realised that wasn't quite true. So I got married. I've been married for 10 years. I've got 2 girls, and we've also got a dog. And when the children came along, I realised that my role as a graphic designer wasn't really supporting the family. Pre-kids, my wife worked full-time and obviously I worked full-time, and it was fine. But as soon as children came along, I realised that my role didn't give us the flexibility that was required to have a family and to have a happy life. So my wife was working full-time, I was working full-time. Whilst we had kids, there was no real family life, there's no real downtime. So as a graphic designer, I realised that pretty quickly after having kids that it wasn't quite right for me. I was working from 7 in the morning to 7 at night and not really seeing the children. When I did see them, they were always very tired and a little bit grumpy. So I needed to make a change. And I didn't know what the change was. So I was always coming up with ideas. I was always looking for the next business opportunity. I thought about hot air ballooning companies. I thought about t-shirt printing, canvas printing, online automation, canvas printing, which would have been awesome. I'm sure all of those concepts and ideas would have worked. But I always came up with the concept, pushed the idea, and then got to a barrier before I actually launched it, and then got on to the next idea. So I never really never got over that hurdle. And it wasn't until I realised that what I was doing was stopping myself because I had a fear of failure. And that fear of failure would always lead me to the next idea. And I wasn't very satisfied in my job as a graphic designer, so I was always coming up with an idea to try and satisfy my need for creativity. So being not satisfied in my job, coming up with all these ideas and realising it was the fear of failure would lead me to getting another job, because I was used to getting that income in, and that income was supporting the house to a degree, but my wife still had to work full time, so my children didn't really see me, my children didn't really see my wife. So I would get a new job, which would be a new challenge, which I thought would satisfy my need, but it didn't. I was still frustrated within my career and my work. I worked for 20 years as a graphic designer, and 10 years of that time my role was under threat of redundancy. So I was in a constant period of 10 years where I didn't have any job security whatsoever. At any point my job could go. So although I had an income, I never had security, and I didn't have flexibility, and I could never have a pay rise. So if I worked 7 till 7, I'd still earn the work even if I worked 9 till 5. But I was doing those extra 4 hours each side. It didn't make any sense. So I needed to make a change for the sake of myself and my family, but I also needed to build my confidence, so I knew I could do a business and push it over the line and make a success of it. So I came up with the idea of possibly setting up an oven cleaning business. Now this only came to me as I was driving to work on my daily commute, when I was looking at all of the houses in my area and all the houses that were being built in my area. I realised that it was such an opportunity if I could engage the people within those houses in some shape or form, if they all needed something, and they all have ovens, so they all need oven cleaners potentially. So yeah, on that drive to work, I kind of at that point realised that oven cleaning had a potential. No research done, just I had another idea. And there was potentially another business idea like hot air balloon or t-shirt printing or canvas making. Oven cleaning was another concept that I came up with. But this concept I seemed to push it a lot further, because there seemed to be more into it, more there to it than meets the eye. There was certainly a market for it. I did do research into how many businesses were in the area that were already operating as an oven cleaner. So there was a few, which is not a bad thing, because that means there is a potential, there is a demand for it. There's a demand because there's already business there operating to fulfill the demand. If there is no oven cleaners in the area, I would have question marked whether there was a demand, but also there could be a huge gap in the market. So that was the moment where I thought about oven cleaner, almost like a light bulb moment where I thought, oh, oven cleaner, fantastic, and now it's a commute to work. So then I broke it down into researching how many ovens do I need to do each day, blah, 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 to actually make the money I was earning working full time, and how many ovens in the area does that equate to. So I worked out to be 1%. 1% of the ovens 1% of the houses and the ovens in the area, which was absolutely nothing in comparison to the number of potential houses that would want the service, not taking into account the repeat business. So that day I went to work and I had this idea, and I was started on a path. I discussed this idea with my wife, and I suggested you discuss this idea with your family and your partners, because they will be on this road with you. So it's important to have that discussion with them as well. So I had this discussion with my wife, and I also ran it past my friends, and I ran it past my other members of my family, to mixed thoughts. My wife was supportive. My friends thought I wasn't the right person to do a job like that. They couldn't see me doing it full time, all the time, cleaning ovens, and my family couldn't see why people would pay to have their ovens cleaned. Now, in hindsight, they're right. But on the flip side, who would pay to have their shirts ironed? Who would pay to have the grass cut? Who would pay to have their house decorated? All things we could do ourselves. But if you've got income surplus, then why would you do it? Get somebody to do it. And that's what I find. People who have surplus income, who don't want to have their ovens cleaned, they're the clients that you want. So researched other companies, found out there was demand, realised it was a young industry, so the industry was still in its infancy and still growing. So, and that the people out there are still not aware that this industry exists. Then I went on a training course. So the training course was okay. I needed to go on a training course. Still want to go into people's houses and just say, I'm an oven cleaner. Never cleaned an oven before. So I went into onto a training course. It was fine. It gave me the basics, and then I started learning on the jobs that I was working on. But the tools and the products that I was using, which came from the training company, were not fantastic. They didn't really do a job that well. So over a period of time, over a period of a year or so, I started to get other tools. I experimented and I tweaked the system and made it perfect so I could clean an oven really fast, really effectively, and do a fantastic job. With proper tools, with the right products, I could turn an oven around very quickly. So just going backwards a little bit, I finished my full-time role on a Friday, and I started oven cleaning on a Monday full-time, without any sort of position of starting for part-time. It was just straight into it. I wanted to get going, and I wanted to do it straight away. In hindsight, it put me under a bit of pressure because I needed to make it work and I needed to get the income coming in. On the flip side, I had to make it work because it was the only income to come in. So the pressure was on, and that pressure made me do it, which was great, which is exactly what I needed. I don't recommend it, because if you are under financial restraints, then you want to just ease your way into it slowly. Make sure you've got an income. Don't burn your bridges. Don't burn your boats. Don't leave yourself stranded on an island with nothing. If you've got a job, keep your job and start doing it part time. You can do it in the evenings. It's absolutely fine. So I nailed down the timing, which is really important. In the first half a year, I grew the business to a point where I was reasonably satisfied with the amount of income. That was in 6 months. In 9 months, I was almost to the point where I was earning exactly the same that I was earning when I was in full-time work. And this was based on the techniques I was using, the products I was using, all the experimentation. So I perfected how I cleaned ovens. I've done all of the hard work, and I've got all of the systems in place. And now I'm in a position where I don't have to do any marketing. My phone barely rings, because there's a secret to that, where I get clients without my phone ringing. After a year and a half, I was earning £1,000 a week, working 4 days a week. with no marketing, no advertising after a year and a half. And I'm happy to share the system that I have created, the tools that I use, the products that I use, and how I have gone from 0 on the Monday that I first started to 1,000 plus a week, working 4 days a week with no marketing, and my phone doesn't ring. Because when I first started, my phone was ringing. I was trying to do a job. I was driving. I was trying to get my diary out. I was doing it was all a little bit chaotic and a little bit crazy. So I tweaked the system. I tweaked how clients find me. And I tweaked how they book in. So now my phone doesn't ring. I don't have that worry. I know my diary's filling up automatically, which is priceless. Now, let's talk about you. It is a dirty job, but with that comes a lot of satisfaction. You meet some great people, you do a great job, you get fantastic comments, the reviews are always awesome. Is it for you? The first 2 or 3 times I came back from working as an oven cleaner, I came back and I was filthy because I only just started, I had no experience, so I was coming back dirty. And my wife said I'd never look happier. So after working 20 years as a graphic designer, a job that I always wanted to do, I've never looked happier cleaning ovens. But that's because I was meeting great people, I was having a good conversation. I've achieved my goals. I earn great money. I have the potential to earn more money. I earn £1,000 a week. That is just a ballpark figure. Potentially you can earn a lot more if you really wanted to. But going back to my previous work hours of 7 till 7, if I did that 5 days a week, I would almost certainly be bringing in £1,500 a week. The potential is there, and that's just with one van. So if you become a multi-van, then the potential is limitless. You can earn what you want. But my other goal was flexibility for the family. So now my wife doesn't have to work full time. This is all within the space of a year and a half. My wife doesn't have to work full time. I see more of my kids because I've got flexibility. My wife is looking after the children, so she's a lot happier. I have a much happier life out of work. I have a much happier life in work because I've got complete control of everything. I have control of my diary. I have control of when I start and finish work. I have control of everything. Whereas before, I had to be somewhere. I had to be in an office. I had to be there. I had to be in a meeting. That's all gone. And my stress levels have dropped by a huge amount. So what is it do you want from your life? What are your goals? Is it to earn more money? Is it to have more flexibility? You're in a different position to me. You may be working in an office. You may have to commute to work. You may have to do a lot of driving. Maybe you drive a lorry and you're fed up of that because you've got backache or whatever. Maybe you've got a cleaning business already and you just want to expand. It is a perfect oven cleaning and cleaning. Gel obviously goes hand in hand. Or perhaps you want to subsidise your current wage. So, as an example, you may be a nurse or a firefighter. I met a firefighter recently who has 4 days at work and 4 days off. He didn't know what to do with those 4 days off, so he's going to clean ovens. Bearing in mind, he potentially can earn £200 a day in those 4 days off. So that's £800 a week on top of his current wages as a firefighter. So that you can see the potential is huge. Whether oven cleaning is for you, that's for you to decide. You need to work out what your goals are, what you want out of oven cleaning. So what I've created is an online course to give you all of the information you require at this point, so you have a really good understanding of what's required as an oven cleaner. What will your clients expect? What are the standards do your clients expect? How do you take these ovens apart? What products do you need? What tools do you need? What equipment do you need? All of this is within the online course. We also go through the products in depth. We go through the tank in depth, which is a heated tank in the back of the van that cleans the shelves, the trays, etc. which speeds up the process. Oven cleaning is a difficult manual job, so anything that we can do to help ease that manual process is definitely an advantage, and a dip tank is definitely an advantage. There is up to 20 to 15 hours worth of videos of me cleaning single ovens, double ovens, ranges and agas, extractors, microwaves. We also go into a little bit about the marketing and the branding of your business. So, is oven cleaning for you? That's something that you need to decide. For me, it's given me so much in my life. It's made my life so much more free. I don't have to commute to work. I don't have to sit at a desk and come home and know my wife is still out working. It's given me a huge amount of flexibility. It's given me a huge amount of earning potential. And that doesn't. These videos are here for you, and you can always refer back to them, even when you're on the road. So it doesn't matter if you're a sole trader or you want to build a business of multiple vans. This course is here for you. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I've explained my path reasonably well. And scroll down, have a look at the videos, and I'll see you in one of the videos.